I've got all this here, all refreshed, looking brand new. And you'll see a definitive line here as it starts to not be quite refreshed. So I got to do all this back towards there, including suspension, to make it look like this. Hello, and thanks for slipping some time with me today. In this episode, it's going to be a continuation kind of what happened on the last episode on this car. And what I got ahead of me now is I'm going to be dropping the suspension. I'm going to be cleaning up the underneath. In the previous episode, if you look at it, you'll see that I had everything else kind of all cleaned up, kind of refreshing this whole car. It's got low mileage. I mentioned it had only 99,000 miles on it. But I want to get it back to even better than that, like it had 0 miles on it. And that's what I've started on it, and I got to continue on. So, as I said, I'm going to drop the suspension, or I'm going to take it out in pieces. I'm not sure yet which approach I'm going to do. I'll see as I go. I've got a few things to start, and I'll show you kind of how I've got to continue on what I started in the front here. So let's get going. I've got all this here, all refreshed, looking brand new. And you'll see a definitive line here as it starts to not be quite refreshed. So I got to do all this back towards there, including suspension, to make it look like this. The exhaust is where I start, and then I'll take off the propeller shaft, drive shaft. Then we can finally get to the suspension here. And like I said, I may just drop this down. That might be the easiest way. I'll probably end up doing that. But I have also done it, you can do it two different ways. You can just take it piece by piece off as well, because I got to take them apart anyway to refresh all this anyway. I'm going to sandblast some parts and paint them or powder coat them. I'm not sure yet. But to get to that, we got to start with taking this off. So let's get to that. To get the exhaust off, I'm going to start with the rear and then go towards the front. Just makes sense to do it that way, and then I don't have to balance anything. So we'll just start with this piece. Comes off a couple bolts there and a hanger there, and then we'll continue on.
I don't really know what comes next. I'm just doing my best, even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Fuck your lies, I'll do what I want.
Let's get this drive shaft out as the next procedure, and then we can start working on this rear stuff. As I get the drive shaft out, I'll take it apart here at the rear differential, and then I can basically take the carrier bearings, loosen them, and then I can just pull it out, and you'll see that.
I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. Something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit.
Okay, I'm going to take this one side off, all the parts, and pretty much the other side will be the same, so I'll only show the one side. So the first thing we got to do is take the brake caliper off so we can get this disc off, and that's what comes next. I'm going to start with actually the brake line. We'll do that right now. See, you hear it crack? There we go. Again, like I said in other videos, I always use flare wrenches so they don't strip, otherwise you're going to have a bad day. So as it starts getting loose, the brake line, I got a little cloth here just because it's going to leak a little bit. Shouldn't leak too much if I catch it. And then I've got a little vacuum cap. I just cap it where it actually is coming from the reservoir or the brakes itself, master cylinder, and then I can cap it before it runs all over the place. I take it out. I gotta bend it a little bit. Get the cap on. It's starting to run a little bit, but that's okay. There we go. And that's that. Then I gotta get this little thing out. It's a clip. Try to edge it out here. Okay, got a little bit of it there. There it is. And then this should drop down. There we go. And this line, I'm also going to put a cap stuffed in it, like this. So I don't want it to get brake fluid all over the place. Brake fluid is very corrosive. Brake lines are undone. Now we're going to take the caliper right off, which I believe is a 14 millimeter in the back here. That one loose. And now we can hopefully take this off. Use the handy dandy screwdriver again to pry. Maybe not. Well, it would help if I did the right bolt. I did the hub bolt instead of the caliper bolt. Oh, let's try it again. Okay, seen it move there? There, caliper's off. Next, we want to get the disc off. And even though this has disc brakes, it actually has a drum for the emergency brakes. So sometimes these are a little hard to get off. And yeah, yep, it is not happy. Well, to get this off sometimes, there's actually these two bolt holes here that you can use as kind of a puller to get this out. So they're 8 millimeter bolts. So while these work, oh, there it is. It's loose now. Now, there. That's all it took. Done. It's basically a drum brake system for the emergency brake. And they're a little bit of a technique to try and get them more together than apart. Got to take this top spring out. Watch your eyes. And that goes in like so. There goes out. Take this spring off. Okay. There's the two springs. And then there's a little support here for it. Now, I'm not going to explain exactly all the parts and pieces in here because there's plenty of videos like that. But I'll just show you what you're up against on, darn it, when you move these around or take these apart. Then I want to take this off, so that's no problem. Using those pliers, take the cable off. There. That's that part. Going to take the emergency brake or the parking brake, hand brake. As I've said in other videos, there's a lot of names for this in the world. As far as I know, I think the UK likes to call it handbrake more. In Canada here, we call it emergency brake. And I think it's parking brake in the US. People forget the main purpose of this thing was an emergency brake at one point. But it's got different names now. And it's used for all those purposes. There's your little education of parking brake education, I guess. And there's a little clip here. Okay, there it is. Parking brake's out. I don't know if I showed you the clip that came out, so you see it right here. This clip, when it sits in there, it'll there's a little where it goes into the bracket here, and then it just goes into right over like that on when it's in the bracket, and make sure it doesn't come in and out. Next, let's move up here. I'm going to take these 4 bolts off on the upper arm. Impact for that. So it's going to spring down a little bit. Don't be alarmed when you do it. Here it is. That. Next, we get take that off. And we're going to take these 2 bolts off here, which are the shock mounts. And we'll just get those there. Again, I'll be doing this on the other side as well. In fact, I already did the other side over there. The nuts are off already. So this is a trailing arm here, and we're going to take that off now. And to get at the bolt, or to take it out, there's a little cap here to take out. That is actually, you don't need a wrench on that. It'll hold itself, but you still need to get it out to pull it out the shaft here. I may have to do this bottom one here. Not sure yet, but we're going to find out. There it is. These are the bolts that I need to take the subframe off. Is right there. Same on this side, right there, and there, and come over here, and right there. And then it should drop. So I've got to set up a jack onto the differential there, and then I can lower it down. Well, other than the fuel spill, which seems to be a trend for me, if you've watched any of my previous episodes when I was draining the Lotus fuel tanks, I had a lot more fuel in that spill out. You might want to check out that video as well. But overall, it went pretty good. I think that's going to wrap up this episode. I know that I've got everything out. And then coming up is we're going to actually start taking this apart and refreshing it all. I'm going to do some PR15, so I got to clean up underneath here to do the rest, because I got the front, now I'm going to do the back. And overall, just get it all spruced up and put it back together, and that's going to continue our journey. So thank you for joining me today. If you want to catch the up-and-coming stuff, please subscribe, like, and share. That would be awesome. And until next time, enjoy every day, and always make it right.